I just want to invest in people that really want to be the best that they can be.
Okay, welcome everyone. This is a podcast that Jim Reed and Robyn LaVassaur and I do for our past clients. We have over 400,000 of them. We love you, value you, have built us into everything that we do today. Today's topic is anyone can be a multimillionaire. Now, Jimmy wants to call it everyone can be a millionaire, and understand why he says that. What you need to understand, in 30 years when you retire, you're going to need multi-millions because of inflation. So I do say multi-millionaire, and I'm going to prove it to you. So I have another company, and I do wealth coaching for people. So I was on a call last week, and I did this same exact example I'm going to show you. And this particular call was, there was about 40 people on this call, and I could tell they didn't believe me. So let me go through it. It's super simple. It's 3 things. So let me go through it. So we start in a business. I don't care what business you're doing. We save $450 a month to our 401k. $450 a month. So some people listening to this might say, Todd, that's a lot of money. I can't do that. Some people say, I already do that. Whatever your situation is, let's say that you got to 450, okay? And it grew at 8% a year for 30 years. Write this down. It would be $675,000. That's the math. Okay? So step number 1, save $450 to your 401k. Step number 2.
Wait, you said $675,000?
Yeah.
After 30 years?
That's what it turns into. Okay?
Remember, the most important years are the last 3. So you got to start now.
Yes. Step number 2, you buy a house, $400,000. I'm just making up a scenario, so just go with me. Please lack the judgment for a second. The average home in America goes up 3.1% for the last 60 years. So I'm going to say that this $400,000 house goes up 3% a year. In 30 years, if you don't pay any extra on it, it's paid off. And that home will be worth $982,000. Okay?
$982,000. This is good. So now I'm feeling more comfortable, Mr. Scrima.
Okay.
Jimmy's like, multi-millionaire, here we come.
It was more like, listen, it's more simple. And what I was worried about is, as soon as people see it as too complicated, I worry they turn the channel. So This is way better. Good job.
Stick with me. $450 a month into a 401k for 30 years. You buy a principal residence for $400,000. After 30 years, it is paid off and worth $982,000. And we buy 1 rental home. 1. Not 10, not 5, not 20. 1.
But we're already a multimillionaire right now.
Hold on.
Yeah, we're not
quite.
We're close.
Not quite. We rent that house, not counting the rents. Let's say that the rents just cover the mortgage. Let's just assume that we're not cash flowing, it's just covering the mortgage. The home goes up 3%. It is that now that home is worth $982,000.
Can I say something, please?
Yes.
So he said, don't worry about cash flow on a rental, but never buy a rental that doesn't at least cash flow or break even. Just wanted to clarify that.
Yeah. Good clarification. I'm not saying go buy a rental that doesn't cash flow. I'm making the assumption in this example that we didn't make any money on the rents. So we have 2 homes worth $982,000. Our 401ks worth $675,000. That's $2.6 million. $2.6 million. If we just did those 3 things, that's it. Nothing else. Nothing else.
Hold on, I'm taking notes.
So
hold on. Okay, go ahead.
So when I did this on the call, I'll say this one thing, and then Robyn and Jim can pipe in. When I did this on the call, one lady said, Todd, I did the math. My 401k only has $162,000 in it, because $450 times 360 months, the principal is $162,000.
You didn't do compound interest.
The difference is the compound interest. So your money is making interest. And it seemed, she's like, no way is that right. Because hear me for a second. On all 3 of these examples, I think the biggest disconnect is our human brains to
live in the now.
Think of something 30 years in the future. It does not work that way.
Exactly.
Our brains don't work that way. The math works.
Yes.
Our brains don't allow us to think that way.
I agree.
That is how it works. That's how it works.
A good example of that, Todd, is like if we all talked about what we paid for our first house. So I bought my very first house in 2002. I bought my first house in 2002. So that is, we'll even say 20 years later. So if it would have sold in 2022, I paid $135,000 for it.
Mm-hmm.
In 2022, it sold for $456,000. I know that for a fact.
Jimmy, tell us about your first house because you still own it.
So I bought my first house for $325,000. I have to tell you something. I was freaking out. And I just had it appraised because I'm thinking about moving and stuff. And it appraised for $815,000.
So $325,000 to $815,000.
I didn't add on to it. It's got the same roof. Like, yeah.
And and when did you buy it?
More than two and a half times.
When did you buy it?
2001.
So do you think prior to 01, 02, because that's when you and I did it, people said there's no way
house will ever sell for
1980 will ever sell
no
for...
way. Yeah, to your point, Robyn, I'm like, I remember like Sacramento is a pretty big city, right? Like compared to little towns around the country, but it's not a really big town. Like I know a lot of people here. Like I run into people I know pretty much everywhere I go, right? And I can't tell you how many houses are over $1 million here. And I would have never believed it when I bought my first house for $325,000. I would have never believed it. I would have bet against you. It's crazy.
And
so what I'm telling you guys, if you're listening, is that in 20 years, that house that I live in that's worth $800,000 will be worth $1.8 million. It will.
Yes. It will because of time value of money and inflation.
Yeah.
So, guys, when we talk about this, there is so much confusion around wealth building and all that stuff. It really gets blown out of proportion. It's pretty simple. It's about having delayed gratification, understanding some basic math. And, I've had some people tell me, because I do a lot of coaching on wealth building and stuff, they're like, Todd, you blow things out of proportion. Stuff. They think that because they don't know math.
Totally. They think you're overselling it, so they choose to discredit you, and they don't take the advice, and so that they never have $1 million. That is what watch out for. I'm telling you guys, I was one of those people when I met Todd. No offense, buddy. And it's true.
I got kind of fired up. I was in a meeting 2 weeks ago. Someone made a snide comment about my wealth, and I got kind of pissy. I said, "Look at
like you didn't heard it."
Yeah, I said, "Let me tell you something. When I got into the business, I was right out of college, so I lived like a college student. Jim Reed was my roommate, so he can attest to this. I didn't spend $1. Okay, I lived on about $3,000 a month. Mm-hmm. That's all I spent. I was making a lot more than that over time, and I saved every penny. I did not buy a new car. I did not buy some big atrocious house. I did not buy a Ferrari. I did not go to Rome. I didn't do any of those things for years and years and years."
Well, about you still wear one of the shirts from back then, and if I and we'll throw it away. I'm not even kidding. It's ripped in the neck. You know what I'm talking about. It's white.
It's okay. It's in my closet. It's my favorite. I wear it at night.
I'm going to make that up, Robyn.
You know what, Jimmy? We should frame it for Todd. But what you're really saying.
What Todd's talking about is the multi-millionaire is when you get a raise, you don't raise your lifestyle.
Yes.
Now, that is the secret to wealth.
Yes.
I got a neighbor. He's one of our best friends, and he has accumulated wealth. And this guy grinds over every dollar he can save, to the point
and so does his wife.
I belly laugh. I'm telling you that they will not ever order DoorDash. Ever. And not because they wouldn't like to stay home, because they're not willing to spend the $6.75 service fee. Period.
Yes.
I'm telling you, you guys think I'm making fun. I'm not. It's the truth.
And just to wrap all this up, why does it matter? Why would we do a podcast? Why would we send this out to past clients and have these conversations? Just like, I'll be honest, just like Tony Robbins has a passion for changing people's life, Todd is committed and passionate about wealth building and running a mortgage company full of people who want to be fiscally responsible. And so hopefully you and your loan officer, they treat you like a consultant, but ultimately we provide additional value because we say we get you into debt. We also want to help you get back out of debt. But ultimately, retirement is meant for and should have, there's a lot more joy in it if you become a multimillionaire. These are simple steps that can absolutely change your life if you commit to them and decide that this is a path that all of us are capable of, right? So
it's a choice.
Yeah.
Just a choice. Can I add something, Todd, before you go wrap this up?
Mm-hmm.
Here's the other reason. I know Todd really well. We were roommates for a long time, and we're buddies, and we raise our kids together. And, we go through the ups and downs of business together, and he's a brother. And the reason is not the reason you think. The reason that he pays it forward on wealth building is because he believes that it makes our country and our towns and where we live better. Now think about this. Think about the decisions you make and the way you act when you're in debt and don't have enough money to pay your bills. Think about the things you sacrifice. I'm talking about integrity. I'm talking about parenting, working too much and not being around. The choices you make when you're under financial duress affect your town, affect your state, and affect your country. Now, you may think that is Jim being a weirdo. It's not. It's the truth. You will make better decisions. You'll be a better role model for the people in your life. You'll be able to give more. And that's when your life feels good. Taking feels good in that moment. After that, it don't feel good, man.
That's so good. Guys, as part of this, I want to offer you a gift. I just decided to do this a few weeks ago. So I do have another company that teaches people wealth building. I went back to our 400,000 past clients. I told my marketing department to send this out over the next few weeks. I said, hey, I want you to take a bundle of these teachings, and it's called Wealth Starter Kit. It's 10% of a big program I teach. And we're going to give it, it's called Wealth Starter Kit. We're going to give it to all of our past clients for free. So I do sell that program for $500. We're going to give it to people for free because they're a past client of Summit. So that email is going to go out. If you want it in advance, you shoot me an email or respond to your loan officer that sent you this, and we're happy to send it to you. It's a textable thing. We simply text it to you. You register. We're not trying to sell you anything. We're not going to sell you life insurance later or something. We don't do any of that. We want to do it because it's the right thing to do, and because I'm passionate about helping people with wealth building and building security so that we can be better people. If you doubt what Jim Reed said, pay attention when a loved one dies and how much people fight over the furniture and the jewelry and all that stuff. It brings out the worst in humans when we are desperate or we feel like we can get something. So that's the reason I do it. It's to help for the greater good. It's like it's a passion project. So if you want that Wealth Starter Kit in advance, reach out to your loan officer, reach out to myself personally, reach out to Jim and Robyn. We literally can text you the code and you can start learning about it. So
cool stuff.
Happy to do that in exchange for one referral from you. Just send us one referral, right? Yeah. Send us a referral because we live on your referrals. Okay. So. Guys, thank you very much. Thank you, Jim and Robyn. Have a beautiful month.
Bye.
Bye, ladies and gentlemen.
Bye.
See ya.